Welcome to Global Lens PL's. Like and subscribe my channel, thank you. Let's start. The Persian Gulf is once again a flashpoint, a region where history and geopolitics collide, and where the world's great powers have long vied for influence and control. Now the US is ramping up its military presence in response to what it calls growing threats from Iran and its proxies, sending a clear signal that it is prepared to defend its interests and those of its allies. On February 11, 2026, the world's attention is fixed on this vital maritime corridor, where every move could tip the balance toward peace or war, and where a single misstep could have consequences far beyond the region. The stakes are global: energy security, regional stability, and the power dynamics that have shaped the Middle East for decades. The Gulf's oil and gas flow to every corner of the planet, making its security a matter of international concern. This escalation follows months of incidents, alleged attacks on shipping, heated rhetoric, and intelligence warnings of further Iranian actions. Each event has added fuel to the fire, raising tensions to a boiling point. US officials say the deployment is a clear message: any aggression will be met with overwhelming force. The Pentagon insists this is about deterrence, not provocation. The strategy is to deter conflict, but the risk of miscalculation is rising. In such a tense environment, even a minor incident could escalate rapidly, drawing in multiple actors. Allies urge restraint, fearing a spark could ignite a catastrophic war. Diplomatic channels are working overtime, but the margin for error is razor thin. Regional powers like Saudi Arabia and the UAE publicly back a tough stance, but privately worry about being drawn into the conflict. Their economies and security are deeply intertwined with the stability of the Gulf. The Gulf is a choke point for global oil. Any disruption here could send economic shockwaves worldwide, spiking prices and threatening recovery in fragile economies. Tehran's response is defiant, framing the US buildup as aggression and vowing to defend its sovereignty. Iranian leaders rally public support, determined to show strength in the face of pressure. State media amplifies this posture, but beneath the surface, Iran faces economic hardship and internal unrest. The government's grip is tested by both external threats and domestic challenges. Sanctions and public discontent have created a volatile environment for Iran's leadership, making their next moves unpredictable and fraught with risk. The military standoff adds another layer of complexity to an already precarious situation, with both sides on high alert and the world holding its breath. The world watches, hoping diplomacy can prevail before events spiral out of control. The coming days will test the resolve and wisdom of leaders on all sides, as the fate of the region, and perhaps the world, hangs in the balance. At the heart of the US military buildup in the region stands the formidable USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, a symbol of American naval might and strategic intent. Now stationed in the Arabian Sea, this powerful force is positioned at a critical maritime crossroads, where global trade routes and regional tensions intersect. The Nimitz-class supercarrier, bristling with squadrons of advanced fighter jets and state-of-the-art surveillance aircraft, projects overwhelming power across the region, serving as a floating airbase capable of launching operations at a moment's notice. The carrier is shielded by a ring of escort ships, including the USS Lady Gulf cruiser, which is equipped with the sophisticated Aegis combat system, providing robust air and missile defense against any potential threat. Carrier Air Wing 7 brings a formidable mix of FA-18 Super Hornets, capable of both air superiority and precision strike missions, as well as EA-18G Growlers, which specialize in electronic warfare, jamming enemy radar and communications to protect the fleet. Supporting them are E-2D Hawkeyes, providing long-range surveillance and early warning, ensuring the strike group's situational awareness remains unmatched. The strike group is a highly flexible, mobile force, able to operate independently in international waters, unbound by host nation restrictions, and ready to respond wherever needed. Its presence sends a powerful signal of US resolve and readiness to enforce red lines, deterring adversaries and reassuring allies in the region. For military planners, the carrier group is both a potent deterrent and a rapid response platform, able to shift from peacetime operations to combat at a moment's notice. The message to Iran is unmistakable. The US retains the capability to project force anywhere, anytime, and will not hesitate to defend its interests. This deployment is not merely symbolic, it's a calculated move designed to shape Iran's decisions and influence the strategic calculus of the entire region. The world watches as the US demonstrates its unmatched military reach, reminding both friends and foes of its global presence. In this tense environment, every maneuver, every formation change, becomes a high-stakes signal, carefully observed by all parties. The carrier's presence is a clear warning. Any escalation will not go unanswered, and the US stands ready to act decisively if necessary. The arrival of the USS Bainbridge and USS Mason, two Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, further strengthens the U.S. naval force. These versatile warships join the carrier group, enhancing both defense and offensive capabilities. Armed with the Aegis system and Tomahawk cruise missiles, they can intercept threats and strike deep into enemy territory. Their crews are experienced in Gulf operations, skilled at managing tense encounters with Iranian forces. This operational familiarity reduces the risk of accidental escalation. The destroyer's presence signals a commitment to freedom of navigation and regional security. With more U.S. warships in the area, the Navy gains flexibility for patrols, escorts, and crisis response. The deployment is not just a show of force, it's a practical step to deter Iranian aggression. The Pentagon's message is clear: the U.S. is ready for any contingency. The stakes in the Gulf have never been higher. Every new ship raises the pressure on Tehran. The U.S. naval buildup is just one part of a vast and intricate military network encircling Iran, projecting American power across the region's most strategic waterways and choke points. Bases in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE host a formidable array of bombers, stealth fighters, drones, and advanced missile defenses, forming a powerful shield and strike force. Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar serves as the nerve center for U.S. air operations, coordinating missions across the region, while Prince Sultan and Al Dhafra bases extend American reach deep into the Middle East. Thousands of U.S. troops are stationed across the region, from Iraq and Syria to Kuwait and Bahrain, ready to respond to crises and support allies at a moment's notice. Patriot missile batteries protect key sites from aerial threats, while elite special forces conduct covert missions that check Iranian influence and gather vital intelligence. This web of bases and alliances allows the U.S. to strike from multiple directions, overwhelming Iran's defenses if needed, and ensuring a rapid, flexible military response. Decades of joint exercises, arms sales, and training have created deep interoperability with Gulf Arab militaries, forging strong bonds and shared tactics. In any conflict, this close cooperation would be crucial for coordinated action, shared intelligence, and seamless command and control across coalition forces. The U.S. is not acting alone. Regional partners provide access, logistical support, and strategic depth, multiplying the effectiveness of American forces. This forward-deployed posture ensures rapid response to any threat, allowing U.S. forces to act decisively and maintain a constant state of readiness. The message is clear: the U.S. and its allies are prepared for escalation, signaling unity and resolve to both friends and adversaries. Iran faces a ring of steel, with U.S. bases and assets complicating its strategic calculations and limiting its options. The balance of power in the Middle East hangs in the balance, shaped by this formidable U.S. military presence and the ever-shifting dynamics of the region. Iran counters U.S. military might with asymmetric tactics, focusing on the Strait of Hormuz, the world's oil lifeline. The IRGC Navy trains for swarm attacks, using fast armed speedboats to overwhelm larger U.S. ships. Coastal defense missiles and naval mines add layers of danger, threatening to choke off global oil flows. Iran's missile arsenal is the largest in the region, capable of striking U.S. bases and allies. Proxy forces, Hezbollah, Iraqi militias, the Houthis, extend Iran's reach, opening multiple fronts if conflict erupts. These groups can harass U.S. interests and stretch American resources thin. Iran's strategy is to impose costs and deter invasion, not match the U.S. ship for ship. The threat of a massive missile barrage is a powerful deterrent. Even with questionable accuracy, sheer numbers challenge regional defenses. Iran's unconventional playbook keeps adversaries guessing. The Gulf remains a chessboard of risk and retaliation. While military tensions rise, U.S. sanctions have battered Iran's economy, oil exports have collapsed, the rial has plummeted, and inflation is rampant. Daily life for Iranians is marked by shortages, unemployment, and rising prices. The government struggles to fund its military and regional proxies, forced to make tough choices. Sanctions aim to weaken Iran's ability to project power and force policy change. Yet the regime has not capitulated. Instead, it doubles down on resistance, fueling nationalist defiance. Hardliners gain ground, arguing compromise is futile. The economic vice tightens, but Iran's leaders remain defiant. Supreme Leader Khamenei faces a dual crisis: U.S. pressure from outside and unrest at home. Protests over economic hardship have morphed into calls for political change. The regime responds with repression and minor concessions, but discontent simmers. Khamenei must balance hardliners' demands for confrontation with the risk of wider unrest. Internal divisions grow, with some urging diplomacy and others insisting on resistance. The regime's cohesion and Khamenei's authority are being tested as never before. Diplomatic channels between the US and Iran are frozen, with both sides entrenched in their demands. The collapse of the nuclear deal and renewed sanctions have deepened mistrust. Europe urges dialogue, but efforts to bypass US sanctions have largely failed. Regional powers, like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, support US pressure, but quietly seek to avoid war. Oman and Qatar work behind the scenes to mediate, but progress is elusive. The absence of direct communication raises the risk of accidental escalation. A minor incident could spiral into major conflict in this tense environment. The region waits, hoping for a diplomatic breakthrough. The countdown to crisis continues. The Persian Gulf stands at a crossroads. Military buildup, economic pressure, and diplomatic deadlock have created a volatile standoff. The US seeks to force Iranian concessions. Iran answers with defiance and asymmetric threats. Both sides risk miscalculation as forces mass and rhetoric intensifies. The world watches, anxious that a single misstep could trigger war. The current path is unsustainable. Escalation looms unless diplomacy intervenes. The coming weeks will decide the region's fate. The stakes: global security and economic stability. The question remains: can the cycle of escalation be broken, or is conflict inevitable?